can my corrupt political opponent, crooked Joe Biden, put me on trial during an election campaign that I'm winning by a lot, but forcing me nevertheless to spend time and money away from the campaign trail in order to fight bogus, made-up accusations and charges? I won't be able to go to Iowa today. I won't be able to go to New Hampshire today because I'm sitting in a courtroom on bullshit.
That was President Trump in New Hampshire yesterday, accusing President Biden of weaponizing the Department of Justice during an election period. The former president now accusing the January 6th committee of illegally destroying records and documents, calling for the indictment to be immediately withdrawn. Meanwhile, a new poll shows Trump is gaining support, leading Florida Governor Ron DeSantis by more than 40 points right now. Joining me now is Wisconsin Congressman Scott Fitzgerald. He's a member of the House Judiciary and Financial Services Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much for being here.
Good to be with you, Maria.
Well, you're on the Judiciary Committee. What can you tell us about all of these charges against President Biden and his family right now in the midst of all of these other charges against Trump?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's been developing over the last week is that this last indictment is so thin and is so poorly put together that, you know, the murmurs are that Jack Smith and his office, and I don't think a lot of us really knew what his track record was before this, that there's almost a level of incompetence that many members, I think, as well as staff, are saying, you know, if you're going to indict the president of the United States, you think you would have everything tied down and locked down, and it doesn't appear to have happened in this indictment.
Byron Donalds, the congressman from Florida, told me on Sunday he thinks that the strategy of Joe Biden and the DOJ is to bleed Trump dry in terms of his money, making it harder and harder for him to compete. Is that what you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number's at 40 million right now, which is obviously significant when you're trying to raise that type of cash and also run for president of the United States. That's going to put a drag on the campaign. So, you know, what Byron is saying, I think, is what a lot of other people are thinking is, yeah, that's part of the strategy. That I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, meanwhile, says that House Republicans have now received bank records showing that Biden's been paid a total of $20 million from foreign countries that they can identify. Nancy Mace said it was upwards of $50 million, by the way. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, however, told House Republicans to pump the brakes when it comes to impeaching President Biden, saying that impeachment ought to be rare and it is not good for the country. What do you make of that?
Well, I don't think it's great for the country, of course, and there's a lot of other things we should be working on. But we have a responsibility per the Constitution of oversight. And along with that, the committee structure of not only oversight, but judiciary and certainly Ways and Means, we have a duty to do this. So, you know, I understand what the leader's saying. But the problem, I think, is that, you know, if we don't do the impeachment inquiry, which simply puts the resources in place and the ability to do an impeachment in place, then we're shirking our responsibility. So I guess I would disagree with the leader on that front.
Well, I guess you could say that bribery and money laundering is not good for the country either.
Absolutely, no. And I think one of the other things the members are looking for right now is for Congressman Comer, who's been doing a great job of methodically going through these bank records. I mean, everyone's kind of waiting to see, did they take the money? Did Joe Biden take the money? Is the money in the accounts? I mean, we're at that level of scrutiny at this point to see, are we able to prove that? And if we are, there's no doubt that there's going to be not only an inquiry, but I think an impeachment trial that'll move forward sometime this fall.
So, I mean, you're on judiciary. That's where it would begin. Are you expecting an impeachment inquiry to be a priority when you and your colleagues get back in September?
Yeah, I think Chairman Jordan's been very careful, but very good in making sure that the members of judiciary kind of know where we're at on this. So every time that we bring the committee together, there's kind of a full briefing on this is where we're at and this is where we're headed. So I would expect that, you know, that'll continue right up until the point when the speaker decides to move forward.
Well, I mean, the Washington Examiner is reporting that the Ukrainian prosecutor general who replaced Viktor Shokin because of pressure from then Vice President Joe Biden, he had ties to Hunter Biden and Burisma lobbyists. Newsbusters is reporting that the evening of August 1st to the morning of August 8th, ABC, CBS, and NBC News spent 332 minutes on Trump's third indictment and less than 5 minutes on the Biden family scandals. Congressman, how hard is it that you're not getting this reporting at all from the mainstream media, so the public largely is unaware of the money that you and your colleagues have come up with? Certainly your colleagues in the Oversight Committee have identified as far as money going into shell accounts that were controlled by Biden's.
Yeah, I mean, Viktor Shokin is obviously at the forefront, and certainly the president was bragging about his power and influence related to that situation. You know, everybody's been asking for a long time, you know, where does that money come from? And is that part of what ultimately the Oversight Committee can kind of dig into? I think at the end of the day, what you're going to see is it's anywhere from 9 to 20 accounts. Certainly the $20 million figure has been thrown around. Like you said, Congresswoman Mace has been privy maybe to some other information that raises that number even higher. But if you look overall, I think what you're going to see is that once that tree of the Biden family is put together, and certainly Hunter is the mover and shaker that coordinated a lot of this stuff. It's obvious based on the emails that we've already seen. Everyone knows what was going on. It's just a matter of proving it now.
All right. Congressman, we'll be watching your work. Thanks very much. Scott Fitzgerald joining us this morning. Thank you, sir. Coming up, markets are higher. Futures are expected.